Found him in a pool of blood, and you know, I just relate to victims because of that, for that reason.
Greg says his father-in-law taught him to be a carpenter and ultimately provided him with a trade to make a living.
I feel that every time I do this, I'm remembering my best friend.
After Greg's father-in-law was killed, he felt compelled to make his very first cross for an innocent 6-year-old boy, a family friend killed in a gang shooting.
Got it. Got it.
Since then, Greg's taken crosses to Columbine, Orlando, Vegas, Sutherland Springs, and many more places, initially traveling on his own dime.
I went to Orlando, and I didn't have any money to get back.
Since then, generous people have donated new tools and even a truck to support his mission of never forgetting a single victim. He's filled nearly 30 notebooks with the name of each individual and their family contact, so he can call to remind them they're not alone.
I'm really real good at calling people on an anniversary.
In Aurora, Illinois, Matt Finn, Fox News.
And we are getting some of the first images from a devastating fire that tore through an apartment building and took the lives of 12 people. And now investigators want to know why a required safety feature that could have prevented the flames from spreading did not properly function. And months after wildfires ravaged California's wine country, businesses are finally getting back on their feet.
Most people are very surprised. They're expecting to see charred areas, burned areas, and they're few and far between.
Why there are now concerns that perceptions about the extent of the damage could lead to job losses. And also ahead, how some time on the high seas is helping some of our brave warriors back from overseas battlefields cope with PTSD. We will be right back.
What?
The comedy continues on Brooklyn Nine-Nine's 5th season with unorthodox police antics and evolving precinct relationships.
I think you are going to see some relationships develop over the course of the season. It's season 5 now, so you've watched these people. Jake and Amy finally got together, they moved in together, and Joe's character, Charles, is now a new dad. Terry's character now has 3 kids.
Castmates Melissa Fumaro and Stephanie Beatrice say fans will see another side to their characters this season.
Sign me up.
We're going to see a lot more of their intimate lives kind of like come out in the storyline, because I think also the audience knows these characters better by now. Yeah. And so they're more interested in like, well, what else? What else?
The 2 co-stars joked about some possible plot twists.
This is way too much stuff, and it's too heavy to carry all the way back.
We've only read 7 episodes so far, so we can't really say who dies this season. But you never know. That's the nature of television these days.
They just kill like Jake off in the 2nd episode, like Game of Thrones style, and everyone's just like, what is happening?
Ratings go way up. We're like, it worked.
And the ladies quipped about the cast's closeness when asked if they watch the show together each week.
We all live in a commune.
Yeah.
And we all call each other by our characters' names when we're not on
We've been
set.
trying to keep it under wraps because some people think it's weird.
But it's getting out now, so you know what? We're just like, go with it.
Yeah, we each have a cabin, so it's like everybody has privacy.
Yeah, but there's like a preschool for all the kids.
Yeah. We eat dinners together at a very long table.
It's great.
Yeah, squeak.
In Hollywood, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
Firefighters in England battling flames in a high-rise apartment building. Take a look at this. This fire broke out on the 9th floor of a 12-story building in Manchester. The Manchester Fire Department says they were able to get that fire under control quickly, and 1 person was taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation. Back here at home, we are getting a look inside the New York City apartment building where 12 people died in a fire 2 nights ago. The video shows that badly charred interior of the 26-unit building in the Bronx. Investigators are now looking into why a stairwell door did not close. New York City requires self-closing doors in every building with more than 3 units. Those doors swing shut on their own to keep fires from spreading. Firefighters say the flames started when a 3-year-old was playing with a stove burner. The fires in California's wine country that destroyed nearly 9,000 structures and homes in Napa and Sonoma counties in October continues to impact that region's tourism industry. Only 22 of the area's 700 wineries were damaged or destroyed, but following weeks of media coverage, the worry now is that people whose livelihoods are tied to the wine industry could lose their jobs because of the perception that the entire region was devastated. Senior correspondent Adam Housley has more.
It's strange, but we know we're going to rebuild, and we know it's going to be a nice building again, so we have faith.
Winemaker Pierre Bierbin says he has hope as he looks over the spot where Signorello Winery once stood. The October wildfires destroyed this winery and raged through wine country, killing 42 people and burning down nearly 9,000 structures.
It's important for people to come back because we depend on tourism, and the valley is still beautiful and it's still a good time to visit.
We do need to put people back to work. We do need to make sure that our wineries, our restaurants, our tourist industry, this beautiful land is supported by the people who really care so much about it.
One of the top 5 most visited areas in the country, the 2 weeks of fires came at the region's busiest during harvest season. And while 22 wineries were either damaged or destroyed, there are more than 600 others in Napa and Sonoma that are open for business, albeit with more room than anyone wants.
Most people are very surprised. They're expecting to see charred areas, burned areas, and they're few and far between.
There is destruction here. In Santa Rosa, thousands of homes gone, families' lives changed forever. But much of it in residential areas, affecting people who are more dependent now than ever on a steady income, most likely tied to the tourist dollar.
There's been an immense amount of support from family and friends and just the community in general.
The best way that anyone interested in supporting Napa Valley right now would be to come visit.
While the Thomas Fire in Southern California also this fall is now the state's largest ever, the wine country fires are the most destructive in history, with estimated damages into the billions. While Signorello Winery hopes to reopen here in 2 years, they need to be creative to keep all their employees working. They're now taking wine tasting directly to people's homes. And of course, other wineries doing what they can as well to reconnect with customers, because bookings in Napa and Sonoma are down 50% from last year. In Napa Valley, California, Adam Housley, Fox News.
They fought for all of us overseas. Now, by spending some time on the high seas, they're addressing some of the psychological scars that they brought back from the battlefield. Correspondent Phil Keating has more on how one combat Marine is helping others cope with PTSD.
For these combat veterans from Fallujah, Iraq, and Afghanistan, this sound sure beats the sound of bullets.
This is a good therapy for anybody, combat veteran who's suffering through PTSD, and just to be together with people that have been through the same thing you've been through, and they know what you've been through, and you don't have to talk about it.
That's the whole point of Operation Wet Vet, the brainchild of former Marine Ozzie Martinez.
We were his first platoon as a drill instructor.
Getting fellow combat vets who've seen and heard the worst of war and still deal with its impact out on the high seas to focus on fishing and camaraderie.
I was separated from my wife. I had just had a 6-month-old son born at the time, but I was doing a lot of drinking. I had hit rock bottom. So starting this, I now have a purpose once again in life. I'm surrounding myself with like-minded individuals, combat veterans that understand me. Literally, Operation Wet Vet has now become almost my form of therapy. Put your left hand higher up on the grip, towards the top. There you go.
Martinez says his day of deep-sea fishing is surging in popularity and demand as more combat vets hear about it and more patriotic owners donate their vessels. One important thing they want all Americans to know is that PTSD is not something to be afraid of and shouldn't be stigmatized.
The thing about Marines is, when one is there, two are there, three are there, it doesn't matter. We all just kind of gravitate towards each other.
For these combat vets, it's all about a positive attitude. Tomorrow's a new day. And days like this are great ones. Off the Palm Beach County coastline, Phil Keating, Fox News.
A police officer shot in an ambush attack, how it unfolded. Plus a hoax phone call being blamed for a tragic shooting death at the hands of police. Details straight ahead.
The incident is a nightmare for everyone involved, including the family and our police department. Due to the actions of a prankster, we have an innocent victim.
Foreign policy, midterms, the administration, inside the key political moves that could shake up 2018. Our experts break it down next Fox News Sunday.
The Toy Hall of Fame has 3 new members: the wiffle ball, paper airplane, and the board game Clue. The nature of how we play has changed over the years, with games becoming more complex and moving to cell phones and video game systems. But there's a reason a toy like the wiffle ball is still around. It's simple, mobile, and anyone can play. The creator's grandson spoke at Thursday's induction.
I'm sure my grandfather would be just take great pride in knowing that the ball he developed made it in here today.
Part of the ceremony had a paper plane flying over Miss Scarlet and Colonel Mustard. Hall of Fame officials noted the cultural impact of Clue. It's been made into a movie and a series of mystery books. So why did these 3 beat out the 9 other finalists? They show the variety of what it means to play.
All 3 of these really capture the best essences of play: social play, active play, creative play. It's a wonderful mix of toys that really belong in the National Toy Hall of Fame.
As for how the inductees are chosen, they're first nominated by the public, then chosen based on the advice of historians and educators. The biggest requirement is the toy has to show longevity by spanning multiple generations. Some of the other finalists included the Magic 8-Ball, Pez dispensers, and My Little Pony. The Toy Hall of Fame opened in the late 90s and now has more than 60 members. In Washington, I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox News.
A Los Angeles police officer is recovering after being shot in what authorities are describing as an ambush attack. The recent graduate of the police academy was shot in the thigh while she was patrolling with her training officer. Police say the attacker opened fire from a distance as officers were talking to someone else. They say one person has been arrested and a gun was seized. Los Angeles police officers confirming the arrest of a man in that city in connection with a fatal police shooting in Kansas. Authorities say the man called in a fake 911 call, and officers responding to that report fatally shot the man who opened the door at that address. Will Carr is covering this story from our Los Angeles bureau. Will, what are the details of this? How did it happen?
Well, Molly, for starters, we've learned that the man who allegedly called 911 has a history of prank calls. And on Thursday, authorities say that he called 911 in Wichita, Kansas, said that he was armed, had killed somebody, had hostages, and wanted to burn his house down. The only thing, it was all a hoax.